Hare Krishna. So thank you, Ritesh Prabhu. Mohan Prabhuji, Vishwanath Prabhu. We do the chanting today. Okay, let's start with Mangalacharan. Om Jnanatimrandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschat Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna. Okay, let's continue with our Yamanashtakam prayer of the week by Shri Rupa Goswami. Anybody else would like to sing today? Okay, then I'll continue. All right. भ्रातुरन्तकस्य पत्तने विपत्तिहारिणि प्रेक्षयाति पापिनोऽपि पापसिन्धुतारिणि नीरमाधुरीभिरप्यशेषचित्तबन्धिनि मां पुनातु सर्वदारविन्दबन्धुनन्दिनि हारिवारिधारयाभिमण्डितोरुखाण्डव पुण्डरीकमण्डलोद्यदण्डजालिताण्डव स्नानकामपामरोग्र पापसम्पदन्दिनी मां पुनातु सर्वदार विन्दबन्धुनन्दिनी शीकराभिमृष्टजन्तुदुर्विपाकमर्दिनि नन्दनन्दनान्तराङ्गभक्तिपूरवर्धिनि तीरसङ्गमाविलासि मङ्गलानुबन्धिनि मां पुनातु सर्वदार विन्दबन्धुनन्दिनि द्वीपचक्रवालजुष्टसप्तसिन्धुभेदिनि श्रीमुकुन्दनिर्मितोरुदिव्यकेलिवेदिनि कान्तिकन्दलीभिरेन्द्रनीलवृन्दनन्दिनि मां पुनातु सर्वदारविन्दबन्धुनन्दिनि माथुरेण मण्डलेन चारुणाभिमण्डित प्रेमनद्दवैष्णवाद्व वर्धनाय पण्डित ऊर्मिदोर्विलासपद्मनाभपादवन्दिनि मां पुनातु सर्वदारविन्दबन्धुनन्दिनि रम्यतीररम्भमाणगोकदम्बभूषिता दिव्यगन्धभाकदम्बपुष्पराजिरूषिता नन्दसूनुभक्तसङ्गसङ्गमाभिनन्दिनि मां पुनातु सर्वदार विन्दबन्धुनन्दिनि फुल्लपक्षमल्लिकाक्षहंसलक्षकूजिता भक्तिविद्धदेवसिद्धकिन्नरालिपूजिता तीरगन्धवाहगन्धजन्मबन्धरन्दिनि मां पुनातु सर्वदार विन्दबन्धुनन्दिनि चिद्विलासवारिपूरभूर्भुवस्वरापिनि कीर्तितापि दुर्मधुरुपापमर्मतापिनि पल्लवेन्द्रनन्दनाङ्गरागभङ्ग गन्धिनी मां पुनातु सर्वदार विन्दबन्धुनन्दिनि तुष्टबुद्धिरष्टकेन निर्मलोर्मिचेष्टितां त्वाम् अनेन भानुपुत्रि सर्वदेव वेष्टितां यस्तवीति वर्धयस्व सर्वपापमोचने भक्तिपूरमस्य देवि पुण्डरीकलोचने मां पुनातु सर्वदार विन्दबन्धुनन्दिनि मां पुनातु सर्वदार विन्दबन्धुनन्दिनि हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे श्रीमनाष्टकम की जय रसाचार्य श्री रूप गोस्वामी की जय जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय Okay, anyone would like to read the translation?
Hare Krishna.
Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Go ahead, Mataji. Thank you.
Okay. May Sri Yamuna, who is the daughter of Suryadev, who saves one from having to enter the city of her brother Yamaraj, the sight of whom enables the most sinful persons to cross the ocean of sin, and the sweetness of whose water charms the hearts of everyone, always purify me. May Sri Yamuna, who is the daughter of Suryadev, who decorates the great Khanda forest with a stream of pleasant waters, who is filled with lotus flowers and dancing birds, and who blinds the terrible sins of they who desire to bathe in her, always purify me. May Sri Yamuna, who is the daughter of Surya Dev, a drop of whose water destroys the sinful reactions of the people, who creates a great flood of confidential pure devotional service to Lord Nandanandana, and who brings auspiciousness to they who desire to live on her shore, always purify me. May Sri Yamuna, who is the daughter of Suryadev, who divides the seven oceans and seven continents, who witnessed many of Lord Mukunda's transcendental pastimes, and whose splendor rebukes a host of spheres, always purify me. May Sri Yamuna, who is the daughter of Suryadev, who is decorated by the beautiful district of Mathura, who expertly protects they who follow the path of loving devotional service, and who, with the playful motions of the waves that are her arms, offers respectful obeisances to Lord Padmanabha's feet, always purify me. May Sri Yamuna, who is the daughter of Suryadev, whose charming shores are decorated with many lowing cows, who is filled with many splendid and fragrant kadamba flowers, and who is delighted to have the company of Lord Krishna's devotees, always purify me. May Sri Yamuna, who is the daughter of Suryadev, who is filled with the warblings of thousands of joyful Malikaksha swans, who is worshipped by the Vaishnavas, Devas, Siddhas, and Kinnaras, and the slightest scent of the fragrant breeze moving on whose shores stop the cycle of repeated birth and death, always purify me. May Sri Yamuna, who is the daughter of Suryadev, who is the famous splendid spiritual river flowing through the Abhu, Bhuva, and Swaha planets, who burns away the greatest sins and who is fragrant with scented ointments from Lord Krishna's transcendental body, always purify me. O lotus-eyed one, O daughter of Surya Dev, O rescuer of from all sins, please flood with pure devotional service that person who, reciting these eight prayers with a cheerful heart, glorifies you, whose waves are pure and splendid, and who is accompanied by all the demigods. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Ati Mataji. Yes, splendid, simply wonderful. These devotees, pure devotees of the Lord, are simply wonderful. Like Yamuna Maharani, like our Guru Parampara, like Giriraj Govardhan, like Vrinda Maharani, Tulsi Maharani. We sang about all their glories all the past 4 weeks. So like that, Prabhupada was saying, Krishna is that's wonderful. Yesterday we were reading chapter 51, chant Hare Krishna and fight. Prabhupada was saying that yesterday when his disciples were saying, Prabhupada, you are wonderful. He says, I am wonderful as long as I'm serving Krishna. Krishna is wonderful always. so like that, Krishna and Krishna's pure devotees are simply wonderful. And Prabhupada was saying that yes, we are chanting is the prime factor, because when we chant, then everything else becomes clear. Otherwise, our mind is hazy and foggy. Like yesterday, Cincinnati in the night, yesterday when I was coming back from school of our kids, it was very foggy. So like that, if we don't chant, then our minds are very foggy. But when we chant, then everything becomes clear. So Prabhupada is saying that, yeah, we chant and then everything becomes clear. And then we are able to do all our services nicely. If we don't do our sadhana nicely, then we will, while the purification will still happen with our seva, but there should be a good balance of sadhana, seva, and swadhyay. So we read Prabhupada's books, like we said, we chant, it clears our mind. When we do swadhyay, it sharpens our intelligence. And when you do seva, it purifies our body, our senses. So like that, so everything should be done. And Yes, so Prabhupada is now back in Bombay, and we saw Bombay temple is still not ready. It was still under construction. But Prabhupada said that he wanted to go there to his new quarters, even though all the floor was dirty, there were no doors, windows. He said, "No, I will go there, because if I don't go there, nothing will be finished." So again, like Prabhupada is just giving his mercy, because wherever a pure devotee goes, that place is purified. People who get his darshan are purified, and everything starts happening magically. So that's what Prabhupada, just even for one night he went there, even though everything was not ready, but he was so happy that he was there, and he thanked his disciples very much that they were working so sincerely and strenuously to serve Srila Prabhupada and make the temple and the hotels ready in Bombay. And then of course he gave the class, the Pandal program. People are busy with politics because India's political environment was busy at that time with new government, Indira Gandhi been having lost her position. So people are all busy. So there are not too many people, 1,000 people and stuff like previously there were 25, 30,000 people in Prabhupada in Bombay. But still Prabhupada is very happy that so many people are coming, attending the program. He was very weak physically, but he was still very strong spiritually. And he was quashing all the questions people were asking about soul, about health. And Prabhupada said, what health? Everybody has to die. Right? Janam Mrityu Jara Vyadi is common in this world, material world. So we have to finish our business here and go back home to the place of eternality where there is no birth, death, old age, and disease, which is in the spiritual world. So that is what Prabhupada was teaching yesterday. So let us continue. Yes, so this what Prabhupada is saying about the soul, saying that the soul, understanding soul is very simple, Prabhupada replied, but you are educated so foolishly that you cannot understand. Srila Prabhupada explained briefly that the body is made of material elements, but that there is a superior element. Anyone can understand, he said. Everything is explained in the Bhagavad Gita, but people are not serious to understand. The morning after the first Panda lecture, Srila Prabhupada sat with Kartikeya Mahadevya, Tamal Krishna Goswami Maharaj, and Bhavananda Goswami Maharaj. Ever since Prabhupada's extreme weakness of health had occurred in Mayapur, he would often sit for hours alone and silent. When he spoke, his voice was often hoarse or faint, but otherwise his conversation was as it had always been, completely Krishna conscious. In fact, Srila Prabhupada was becoming increasingly strong in his uncompromising criticism of all Mudhas who do not accept Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He was condemning materialistic civilization, calling it a dog civilization or an anthill civilization. A dog runs on four legs and a human being runs on four wheels. But if he doesn't know the meaning of life, then he is no better than the dog. Both humans and ants build tall edifices. But if a man doesn't know of the soul and of Krishna, then despite his proud skyscrapers, his civilization is no more than a glorified anthill. If more visitors come, Prabhupada said, I shall describe all this anthill civilization. Health? Nonsense. What health? He will be kicked out immediately. Srila Prabhupada was referring to the man's question from the Pandal. Who is healthy if he is going to die? Prabhupada asked. I am so healthy that I am going to die tomorrow. This is their health. Almost every one of those questions, said Tamal Krishna Goswami, was about the body. Prabhupada. Krishna says, Na hanyate hanyamane sharire. That is healthy. When you do not die, although the body is destroyed, that is healthy life. What is this healthy life? The body is finished and everything. Actually, everything is not finished, but people are kept in that ignorance. They think that body is finished and then everything is finished. But that is not the fact. Krishna very clearly said, Na jayate mriyate va kadachin. If you do not question, then how is it possible? But that is the most important question. The soul never takes birth and never dies, Bhagavad Gita 2.20. Prabhupada mentioned that despite the United Nations, World Health Organization, still everyone was going to die. Where is health? He asked. Such foolish things are going on all over the world. So organize, introduce reality to them and spread it, slow but sure. So we shouldn't be impatient and compromise, said Tamal Krishna Goswami, just to be popular. There is no question of becoming impatient, said Srila Prabhupada. You have got a diamond. If there is no buyer of the diamond, that does not mean you have to throw it away. You must know that here is a diamond. If I want it, I must pay the proper price. That I want to establish. Why India's culture should be lost in this way? I'm not a cheap patriot. I want to give Indian culture to the whole world. I'm not going to cheat people, taking Bhagavad Gita and speaking all nonsense. I want to present Bhagavad Gita as it is. That is my mission. Why should I cheat you? We will try to follow your message properly, said Mr. Mahadevia. Why should India's big culture be lost for the matter of these rascal leaders, said Prabhupada. They should be stopped. Krishna consciousness is all inclusive, just like the economic question. Annad bhavanti bhutani. Krishna says, grow food. It is practical. But when I was traveling, I saw millions of clerks coming to get education. And who is growing the food? Then these clerks have to be provided in these pigeonholes and depend on ration. Is that civilization? Throngs of people are coming. They are corning. They are coming like ants. And when you go to the village, it is all vacant. No one is interested to produce food. Everyone is interested to live in the city in these pigeonholes and go to the cinema, the brothel, go to the club, learn how to drink, how to become gentlemen. Is that civilization? The human aim of life is lost. You do not know why you are going to the office, why you are eating. They are keeping humanity in an animal mentality, a doggish mentality. University education is a doggish mentality. The dog wags his tail as soon as you give him some food. Oh, yes, said Mr. Mahadevia. For application for a job, there are 5 jobs and 5 dozen people apply. Is that education? Said Prabhupada. Better not to be educated. Those who are not educated, they can purchase 5 rupees worth of potatoes and sit down anywhere. After spending so much money, living at the cost of fathers and mothers, they have no job and no food. Then they plan some political party, Naxalite or this or that party, and join a political movement and help Indira Gandhi. You are paid to make propaganda. But all that was vanished now, said Mr. Mahadevia. That plan has failed completely. Like many other Indians, Mr. Mahadevia was hopeful that with a new election, conditions would be improving. No, said Prabhupada. Another one will come. This unemployment is there. When I was a child, we were purchasing mustard oil for 3 annas, and now it is selling for 13 rupees per kilo. Will a change of government bring this 13 rupees to 3 annas? Then what is the benefit? Stool is stool, whether you take it from the top side or the bottom side. A few devotees entered the room and sat, while Prabhupada encouraged them all in preaching. He said that people could not get relief through government, but through Krishna consciousness. Krishna and his devotees were for everyone, not for a particular nation or person. The people are in darkness, said Prabhupada, and the politicians are keeping them like dogs, hogs, and camels, taking a vote from them and becoming a leader. Nobody protested last night, however, that I called all men dogs, hogs, and camels. No one came forward and said, you are using very strong words, because it is all a fact. They especially liked your idea, said Hridayananda Goswami, of American money and Indian culture. They applauded for that. Yes, that is my mission, said Prabhupada. I'm doing that. I'm bringing money from America. Nobody is paying me. It is not a joke. 10 lakhs of rupees. Who else brings? Even big export companies don't bring so much, said Gopal Krishna Maharaj. And they will be glad, said Prabhupada. They have got money and they are getting culture. I'm trying for United Nations. That is the real attempt, not this United Nations, all rogues and thieves and cheaters, barking dogs. I'm trying for real United Nations. Let us cooperate together. Srila Prabhupada's disciples rallied to hear him speak like this, and they resolved to somehow counteract the forces of ignorance through Krishna consciousness. He said they should proceed slowly but surely, just as he had done. He had begun humbly, loitering on the streets of New York, and before that, he had been living alone in the Radha Damodar temple. But now there was the Bombay temple, a palace that would be crowded with thousands of guests to see the deity and attend cultural programs. Do it enthusiastically, said Srila Prabhupada. You all are young men. Our enthusiasm is coming from you, Srila Prabhupada, said Tamal Krishna Maharaj. I'm old man, said Prabhupada faintly, but the devotees didn't accept that. Srila Prabhupada was Nava Yavana, spiritually ever fresh. Each night, Srila Prabhupada had a different devotee read a verse and purport. Leading disciples like Hridayananda Goswami and Giriraj Maharaj would lecture and Prabhupada would speak afterward. He continued stressing India's real message to the world and the misfortune that occurs when people, especially the Indians, neglect it. Based on his bold statements, some devotees had made a big sign and posted it outside the pandal. The modern civilization is a failure. The only solution is Krishna consciousness. In his evening lecture, Srila Prabhupada advised his hearers against identifying with any political party. One day someone is a prime minister, he said, and the next day that person is finished. Although Prabhupada had begun his lecture series by apologizing to the audience, saying he could not speak much because of his poor health, each night he very strongly argued that Krishna consciousness is the only solution. And during the question and answer period that followed his lecture, he was often explosive. When chanting, a man asked through the microphone at the front of the stage, "You chant the name of Rama as well as Krishna, but I do not see any photograph of Rama here. What is the reason?" "You do not see? But can you hear?" Prabhupada asked. "I do not see," the man insisted. Srila Prabhupada exploded. "But you do not hear?" And he went on to explain that hearing is the best way of understanding that which you cannot see. Another man asked how a religious minded person could move in the material world. Prabhupada replied, "Therefore, you have to understand your spiritual identification. But because you are fools and rascals, you are thinking, I am this body." He said that to realize this knowledge, one must be trained by a spiritual master. Srila Prabhupada was aware that most of the questioners had no serious intentions of following him, so sometimes he reprimanded them, like an older brother, for their foolishness. Even their asking philosophical questions with no intention of following was itself foolishness. But Srila Prabhupada continued to offer the diamond of Krishna consciousness, even when the inquirer didn't possess the purchase price of sincerity. He offered it nonetheless, and at great expense to his own physical condition. When a man rhetorically asked Prabhupada to kindly enlighten him about the soul, Srila Prabhupada replied, "That is already explained, that you are a soul within the body." Srila Prabhupada elaborated on how the senses are superior to dull matter. The mind is higher than the senses. Intelligence is higher than the mind. And the soul is the highest of all. So it requires study, he said. It requires education. The education is there. The books are there. The teachers are there. Unfortunately, you are not interested to take the spiritual education. You are now interested in technology, how to hammer, that's all. Each evening, a prominent guest would appear at the pandal and introduce the program. One night after J.M. Gandhi, a justice of the High Court of Bombay, spoke, Bhavananda Goswami read aloud the first two verses, along with Srila Prabhupada's commentary, from the teachings of Lord Rishabhdev in the fifth canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Srila Prabhupada spoke briefly and agreed to take questions. If God is everywhere, a man asked, why his presence is not felt by everybody? Everybody is not intelligent, said Srila Prabhupada. Mostly they are rascals. Manushyanam sahasreshu. This is the statement by God that out of millions of persons, one tries to become perfect. And out of many millions of perfect persons, one can understand God. So God understanding is not so easy. But if we want to understand God, God will help us. That is the point. The next man said he had several questions. My first question is, I don't think God is opposed to sex. Seriously, I have heard many a lecture and it is always stressed as if God is opposed to sex. But I don't think that's so. God is never opposed to sex, replied Srila Prabhupada. Who said? God said, Dharma viruddha kamosmi. Sex, which is not against the regulative principles of religious life, that I am. God never says stop sex. Otherwise, why is there grihastha ashrama? Ashrama means that there is Krishna consciousness. But make it ashrama and follow the rules and regulations of ashrama. Then it is all right. Otherwise, you are bound up by the laws of nature. The same man then referred to Prabhupada's purport with Bhavananda Goswami, which Bhavananda Goswami had read, in which Prabhupada had criticized the life of the hog-like man who lives only for sense gratification. One of your principal statements, the man said, was that a man goes on the motor tram, stands there for 2 hours, reaches his place of business, and works there from 9 o'clock in the morning to 5 o'clock in the evening, returns back, has his food and sex and all that. I found many people who have worked very hard, raised children very nicely, have sex, but lead a good life. I don't think there is anything wrong with that. Yes, if there is no wrong, said Prabhupada, it is all right. But this sort of life is not very palatable. The man continued, because I find even the dog. Srila Prabhupada interrupted. But his reply was soft and humble. If you like that life, if you feel it is good, then that is up to you. But I don't think this is a very nice way of life, to work so hard simply for bread. No, the man said, I agree there. Srila Prabhupada then raised his voice more strongly. Then agreed. Then why disagree? That's all right, no more. The man had more questions, but Tamal Krishna called on someone else. Would you agree that God is just a concept? If you do not, please give a logical reason for that. Prabhupada, why shall I agree that God is only a concept? Because I want it logically. You do not know logic. You have to learn logic. But I still would like you to explain it logically. Yes, but you have to learn how to know it. There is a master, just like you cannot prove logically that without father there is a child. Srila Prabhupada explained that everything we see is growing out of the earth, and the earth is described in the Vedas as the mother. But there cannot be a child without a father. Where there is mother and child, there must be a father. God, therefore, is the father of everything. Srila Prabhupada's disciples were urging him not to exert himself. So when Swarup Damodar Maharaj arrived, Srila Prabhupada asked him to give the evening lecture. Prabhupada was very impressed with Swarup Damodar's scientific presentation of Krishna consciousness. One of the devotees remarked that Swarup Damodar's talk seemed too technical for the audience, but another devotee replied that even if no one else had appreciated the speech, Srila Prabhupada had, and so it was a success. Following Swarup Damodar's lecture, Srila Prabhupada spoke for about 5 minutes and left without taking any questions. The following night, Prabhupada did not speak at all, but he sat on stage while two of India's leading cardiologists, Dr. Keshav Rao Datte and Dr. Sharma, spoke. Srila Prabhupada had been garlanded by Dr. Datte, and he sat patiently and silently on the Vyasasana, satisfied that prominent Bombayites were honoring the Krishna consciousness movement. Dr. Datte spoke about heart disease and said it could be eliminated by controlling anxiety. He then praised Srila Prabhupada and his movement, and after the doctor's brief talks, Swarup Damodar Maharaj gave another scientific lecture and showed slides. Srila Prabhupada later told Swarup Damodar and others, "This scientific program is giving me extra strength to preach Krishna consciousness. It seems like you are giving more stress to science in recent years than previously," said Tamal Krishna Goswami. "That is required for convincing the modernized man," said Prabhupada. "Perhaps I am the first man who protested against these unauthorized scientists." "Oh, yes," said Swarup Damodar. "Everybody is afraid of them except Srila Prabhupada. Frankly speaking, I never knew that the problem was this serious before I met Srila Prabhupada. I never thought about this. Therefore, I took it so seriously," said Prabhupada. "Every morning walk, I would look for you and ask, 'Where is the scientist?' I thought, here I have got an opportunity to impress a scientist, and that will fructify. That was my aim. Therefore, I was bothering you in so many ways. It is your incredible mercy, Srila Prabhupada," said Swarup Damodar Maharaj. "Because I cannot use the technical words," Prabhupada said, "and he can do that. So I wanted that he should be trained up." Hare Krishna. Yes, like we talked about in the past, yes, Sarup Damodar Maharaj he was a scientist coming from Manipur, from India, having grown up here, but he studied his I think he did his chemical engineering in India in a very prestigious university, but then he did his master's and his PhD in California. So and then he met Srila Prabhupada there, and then his life was transformed. So, and he wrote a very wonderful book called The Scientific Basis of Krishna Consciousness, which is part of our series of books that Vishwanath Prabhu has given, that we have read so far. So that's a wonderful book. If anybody has not read, you should read. Especially most of us here are from science background, and Swarup Damodar Maharaj very nicely explains many concepts there. But yeah, Prabhupada again is saying the same thing. Like, again, he's at the very end of his life, but he's saying that this material civilization is only creating more and more troubles and problems for the humanity. People are after sense gratification, again, health and everything. Even here, I remember my Guru Maharaj would say, that people, because all these Vaishnavas, they travel around the world to bestow the mercy, and they see the life of people in general across the world. Like we are just in one place, one city or one country, one working in one place. But when you travel around the world, you can actually see the situation of people all over the world. What miserable conditions people are living in, what problems they are suffering. Sometimes people don't talk about it, but when you actually go and meet and talk to people, then you understand. Externally everything may seem like, oh, so and so person is so wealthy, so rich. He seems to be so happy. He has all the material comforts, but deep inside, when you really poke in, you figure out that how miserable one is. The more rich one is, the more anxious he is. Like here, this cardiologist is saying, we can stop heart disease if we can stop anxiety. So if we can reduce anxiety in the heart disease, and people who are rich, who are wealthy, who are famous, in this world, they're all more and more anxious. If somebody is rich, then they're anxious to get even more rich. Somebody else should not get richer than them. Or if they are rich, then they're anxious that someday they may lose some of their wealth. Right? So a beggar on the street can sleep peacefully, versus a man in a palace, palatial buildings, he's more anxious. So that is why we see people are getting all these health issues, heart conditions, cancer, and even the health that people are trying to do by going to gym and everything. Maharaj was saying that when he comes to America or when he goes to Europe, he'll see people walking in the morning, early morning, or jogging early morning. Here also we see in America when we wake up, like, people are taking their dogs out for a walk. early, even though when it is snowing outside, because the dog has to be taken out, so they will go out with the dog early in the morning. But the same people, if you tell them to wake up early and chant or do morning prayers and devotional service, then that is not possible for them. But for their own health, they will do again that health they want to do. Maharaj was saying, because they want to just have good health so that they can enjoy more. They can have more, material pleasures, sense gratification, right? So that is the aim. The goal of the health is also to enjoy more and more, not to get out of this miserable condition, because ultimately everybody has to grow old and die, no matter how rich you are, how wealthy you are, even if you're the scientist. Ultimately, we all have to grow old and die. If you're the president of United States of America, you have to die one day. So, but that is unfortunately the mentality of people, that yeah, they're just after sense gratification. Okay, anybody else would like to share anything? Anything that you liked from today's reading? I saw one today. Amit Prabhu, Hare Krishna, good to see you. Your initials AC reminded me of Prabhupada, because Prabhupada's initials are Abhay Charana Aravind. So,
Thank you. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Okay. Anybody else would like to say anything? Sangeeta Mataji, Prabhakar Prabhu, Pavan Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Yes, Prabhu.
Nothing from my side.
Hare Krishna. Sorry. Did you say something, Prabhu? Or I think you went on mute.
No, I said nothing from my side, Prabhu.
Oh, nothing from your side. Okay.
Hare Krishna.
Okay. Hare Krishna. All right. Okay. So then I think we'll pause here for today. Thank you so much for all of your association with Srila Prabhupada by reading this Prabhupada Leelamrit. So we'll again continue tomorrow. Learn with Vaishnava Pranam prayers. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyeva cha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Anantakoti Vaishnavind ki jai. Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Prabhupada Leelamrit ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande. Hari Hari Bo.
Hare
Hari Bo.
Krishna.